Hello everybody and welcome back to Xander Tales Sports Edition. Today we are going to talk about the 2020 NFL Draft. Only for the Seahawks because Seahawks fan and I don't really care about all the other teams. Now, I'm just going to paint you a picture, right? Picture me not wearing this jersey, sitting there in front of my TV excited. I'm looking at all these great prospects. Thinking, okay, now we can really build that defensive line that we really need so we can generate some great pass rush. There's Ross Blacklock. Wasn't my favorite guy looking into it, but I figure, maybe he wouldn't be so bad on the interior. Give Jaron Reed somebody to play around with. Good fun. I'm thinking of AJ Epinenza. Also very strong, sturdy pick right there. The main prize, however, Yetur Gross-Matos. I don't know if that's how you actually say his name. That's how I've been saying it. I'm going to stick with it. Now, he's no Chase Young. Of course he's not. But to sit there and go, we'll get Chase Young. Come on, use your head. So, I sit there and I watch this whole draft go by. And I'm watching this with Charles and my buddy Papa over FaceTime. We're laughing. We're joking. But I'm sitting there thinking, let's just get pass rush. Let's get a pass rush. Give me Yetur Gross-Matos. And the pick comes in. And it's Jordan Brooks.
Who?
NANI?
My heart drops. And I am at a loss for words. It's silence. My friends are laughing. And they're like, is AJ okay? I think they broke him. And the only words that were uttered from my mouth at that point were, who the hell is Jordan Brooks? Well, for those of you who don't know, Jordan Brooks, outside linebacker out of Texas Tech, 6 feet, 240. Now, looking at him objectively, I was like, why did we do this? What was the reasoning? What was the logic? I couldn't put it together in my head. But then I did some thinking, because I thought to myself, okay, maybe the Seahawks, maybe they're building something with this. And I realized a few things. One, Michael Kendricks is a free agent, and there's a chance he might not come back. And I watched Jordan Brooks' tape. I watched it heavily. Now, on ESPN, they talked a ton about how this dude is a run stuffer. It's pretty stupid considering how pass happy the NFC West is now. Now, this was like 2 years ago, and we still had Todd Gurley, and we had David Johnson that was a big threat. Yeah, sure. A run stuffer like Jordan Brooks makes sense. But it's a pass-happy league now. You got the whole new air raid offense with the Cardinals out in Arizona. You got the whole split carry, Jimmy Garoppolo, screw it, George Kittle's down there somewhere system with Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. And then you have the Rams, which are now Todd Gurley-less, but Sean McVay, who is, as we already know, also really pass happy. Now, I found out looking back into Jordan's play history, and by looking back, I mean I've watched videos about people looking back into Jordan's play history, that, as it turns out, he wasn't always a run-stuffing linebacker. He actually used to play a high amount of coverage. Now, the beautiful thing is, Jordan Brooks himself, the kid can fly. Fastest linebacker, not really. But I think what they did with this, Jordan Brooks is Michael Kendricks' replacement. Backup at the very least, but replacement at the most. It makes sense. I didn't even consider that until I really started looking and I started digging. We still have Patrick Queen on the board, who's taken with the next pick. We really should have taken Yetur Gross-Matos. I'm not a big fan of Jordan Brooks, not because Jordan Brooks is terrible. I think we could have taken Jordan Brooks with the second pick that we had. It was really close up in the second round anyway. We could have taken easily Jordan Brooks second, and we would have still got everything, plus Yetur Gross-Matos. But after the whole draft, the Seahawks came out with a thing saying that they pretty much were looking for players that hadn't been spoon-fed their entire life. They want guys with a hunger, with a drive, with a passion. Personally, kind of stupid because, you know, not everybody's going to kind of try and coast off of talent. Especially if you watch the draft, then you know that these players have a lot to play for. Don't even be started, Jesus Christ. But I wasn't entirely happy with it at first. Now, though, I'm more comfortable with it. I'm more pleased with it. I understand now. I see the method to the madness now, just a tiny bit. And either it's going to work out really well, or he flops. I want him to work out. Let's be clear. I want him to work out, but too early to tell for me right now. Now, that was the first round. With our second round selection, we took Darrell Taylor, defensive end, Tennessee. At this point, I was pretty pissed because at this point, Yatir Gross-Matos, gone. Ross Blacklock, gone. Even if we were thinking skill position player with Jonathan Taylor, who expressed great interest with wanting to play with Seattle, gone. I think there were still better defensive ends on the board. Oh yeah, AJ Epinenza. I was like, maybe this is where we take AJ Epinenza, right? This is the method to the madness. This is where we take him, right? Or maybe even a Raekwon Davis. We could take him, you know. And instead we took some unknown guy from Tennessee. Now, Darrell Taylor, defensive end. From what I've been seeing, actually, on a lot of the Seahawks fan pages, a lot of these guys have pretty much just been bowing down to this man. This dude, he's something different. And I looked at some of his highlight tape, and I may be getting him confused with the second defensive end that we also drafted in like the 5th round. But this guy just kind of lives in the backfield. He just kind of lives there. I mean, every highlight tape, I'm like, how did he get there so quickly? So he's got speed, he's got length. Well, actually, no, he doesn't. He has slightly below average length. Jesus Christ.
I gotta admit it. I did not see this coming.
Is he just what the doctor ordered? No, not by any means is he just what the doctor ordered. But, tell you what, at this point I was like, okay, you know what? I can't be too mad. We finally got somebody to help with the defensive side of the ball. Maybe these guys see something different that I haven't seen yet. Okay, cool. I can wait. I can totally wait. Sure. Now, moving forward to round 3. Round 3. This one actually might be just one of my favorite picks this draft, which is surprising because he's an offensive lineman. But it is Damian Lewis, offensive guard, LSU. This guy, how do I put it? He's a bully. Oh my god. I was watching the tape of this guy. I was like, this man is just sending people to the shadow realm at will. Like, you see defensive tackles go in and then they just disappear. And I was really happy about this. Now, how will he fare on the NFL level? Of course, he's probably not going to send too many people to the shadow realm, but if you ask me, it's a good start. We need help with the offensive line. He's meant to go in there, and I'm pretty sure, I don't think he has a starting spot. I think he's supposed to compete with some of the other offensive linemen that we've brought in. But honestly, he was a part of that, that LSU offense that took them all the way up to the Natty. So if you ask me, great fit, exactly what we really needed. We needed somebody on the inside to help us with that pass protection. So this way, Russell Wilson doesn't have to run for his life on 3rd down. He can do it a little less now. Yay. Perfect. Excellent. We had to trade for Carolina for that pick, so thanks, Carolina. Appreciate it. On to round 4. We took Colby Parkinson, tight end out of Stanford. Now, this was okay. As I mentioned in my previous video about the tight end situation, we have, let's count off, Greg Olsen, Will Disley, Colby Parkinson now, Jacob Hollister. There's 4 tight ends, and I'm pretty sure there's a tight end that I am just missing. Oh right, Luke Wilson. There he is. That's 5 tight ends. Why do you need this many tight ends?
Why are you the way that you are?
As far as tight ends go, he's actually pretty solid. He's pretty solid, actually. He's got excellent size. I mean, this dude is 6'7". He's huge and an athletic freak. He's just enormous catch radius, pretty much. That's what I've pretty much been seeing on ESPN. Just stupid catch radius. If this thing comes anywhere close to him, he's coming down with it because of his freakish size. So I think he'll probably do pretty decently against linebackers in the NFL. Now I feel like we might try and use him a little bit in the run block. If anything, he might be our next Jimmy Graham. Crazy hot take, I know. Crazy hot take, I know. I'm probably wrong, and I will probably end up eating those words with a spoon. But just looking at this guy's tape, he's freakish. And now, let's calm ourselves here. He's not ridiculous, you know. I'm not saying he's, like, gonna step on the field and immediately be that next Jimmy Graham, but let's just say I'm seeing flashes here, and I'm like, I see a little bit of Jimmy Graham in this one. Colby Parkinson, though, not a terrible pick. I'm kind of here for it, you know, get him another weapon. Now, coming towards the bottom of the 4th round, we have DJ Dallas, running back from Miami. Now, this guy, first off, depth in the running game. Now, like I said, we have Carlos Hyde on the roster in my previous video. I mentioned that. With Chris Carson and Rashad Penny out, injury concerns are, well, concerning. So DJ Dallas, I feel like, is adding depth to the running back position because now we'll have Carlos Hyde, Chris Carson whenever he comes back, Rashad Penny whenever he comes back. Oh man, who else do we even have? Travis Homer. No more beast mode. But now DJ Dallas will also be there. However, you're probably thinking, so you draft like another running back just for what? So he can just be a bench warmer in case one of those guys gets injured and, oh look, he moves up one more spot. Actually, from what I've been seeing, he actually is quite the return specialist from what I've heard. So he's got multiple uses. He kind of reminds me, as far as running style goes, a little bit of like Rashad Penny. If anything, he's what we should have done with Rashad Penny when we were drafting. Not taking him in the 1st round and just been like, hey, we'll pick him up like, I don't know, 4th round. Decent pick. Honestly, I feel like we could have maybe selected a wideout here, which, funny thing, actually ended up happening in the 5th round. Not immediately, because we took Alton Robinson. Now, remember when I said with Darrell Taylor that I was getting him confused with the second guy we drafted who was also a defensive end? Yeah, this guy. This guy, from what I've seen, has just been hailed as some kind of monster from the Black Lagoon.
I'm a cold, I knew that boy was a hoe. Huh? Blueface, baby. Yeah.
Like, Seahawks fan base chatter has just been like, this dude's scary. This dude's really good. This dude's gonna be something. This dude might be rookie of the year. And I'm like, whoa, who even is this guy? I'll take a look at some of his highlights. To tell you the truth, he looked pretty decent. He was one of the better graded picks that we had. He has above average initial quickness according to ESPN. 3rd fastest 40 time out of defensive ends, or defensive linemen. Ooh. Alton Robinson and Darrell Taylor, we might just be building a completely new and scary pass rush. Now, is it the Yatir Gross-Matos and AJ Epinesa that I wanted? No. It's not the combo that I wanted. But the Seahawks have a very particular way of doing this. Plus, if anything, if there's one thing I've learned from being a Seahawks fan, it's the fact that a lot of the legends we have on our team, they generally were taken in the later rounds. If you need any proof of that, look at the shirt. So, Alton Robinson was taken from Syracuse. Fantastic prospect, honestly. I'm glad we took him. He's once again helping us out there, adding not just depth, but hopefully him, Darrell Taylor, can learn from Bruce Irvin, from some of the other guys. If we bring Jadeveon Clowney back, he'll learn from Jadeveon Clowney too, as well. how to be effective pass rushers and what to do in the game. And then hopefully they develop, and then the feast begins. In the 6th round, we ended up taking Freddie Swain, wide receiver out of Florida. This guy is so unknown that ESPN literally does not even have a highlight tape for him. From what I can tell, this guy is not even meant to really be a receiver. He's just kind of like depth when it comes to the return game. That's pretty much why we took him, from what it looks like, just so we could get more help in that kind of return game. However, he's a decent receiver. He's got some speed to him, you know. Apparently, a lot of top-end speed, pretty decent as a slot guy. But he's probably going to make his spot on the roster, according to ESPN, as a return man, and I agree. I mean, we got a lot of talented receivers on this team. He's probably not going to catch too many passes in 2020, so he'll probably, if he makes the roster spot, it's most likely going to be as just a punt returner, kick returner, which is fine. We could always use more depth. Now, this last pick, I know I said that Damian Lewis from LSU was one of my favorite picks in this draft from our team, but to be honest, just one pick that I really actually started liking.
And another LSU player is off the board. It's the tight end, but it's Stephen Sullivan, Daniel Jeremiah, not Thaddeus Moss.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
Who the is that guy?
Who is this man? I don't know. Why did we take another tight end? We have 6 tight ends now. Why did we take another one? We did not need to do that. That just seems ridiculous to me. But the more I started looking at his film, and the more I started actually reading into him, first off, he actually converted from wide receiver to tight end. And I actually began to understand why. He, on film, did not look all that fast. He did not look all that fast. Like, I was watching him. As far as wide receivers go, like, he is no T. Higgins by any definition of the word. But what I did start thinking was, well, he's not fast as a wide receiver, but as a tight end, he's kind of moving. He's kind of moving as a tight end. You know, plus he, almost like Colby Parkinson, he has quite the size to him. This guy's 6'5". He's not all this big, but apparently he can catch, which is great because some tight ends got like stones for hands. But this guy ran he tied for the second fastest 40-yard dash time of all tight ends. On tape, he didn't look like he was moving that fast, but finding that out blew my mind. So I began to think, you tell me we took a wide receiver that's now a tight end, that's one of the fastest tight ends in his draft class, and is pretty good size and is pretty good at catching. All right. I think I'm okay with that. Now, apparently, not a lot to go on the tape, apparently. According to ESPN, they're saying that the tape doesn't flash too much. I personally like what I see on the tape. I think he's a freakish kind of tight end, and judging by that emotional phone call he had with John Schneider, I think he's going to come in and work hard. I think he's the exact philosophy that John Schneider and Pete Carroll were talking about, and looking for guys who want to come in and work hard and weren't spoon-fed, but had to claw and grind their way from nothing, essentially. So, Stephen Sullivan, I think that's our man. Honestly, at first, was a little disappointed, but now, I'm proud of him. Welcome to the land of the 12, Steve. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up the draft. In total, I think we did okay. We definitely addressed some of the needs that, well, needed to be addressed. We addressed that kind of pass rush issue with some young guys who can hopefully bring in new life and reinvigorate the defense. We addressed the problems with running back in terms of depth a little bit. We even addressed setting up new tight ends for the future, maybe even guys who can develop under Greg Olsen and learn from him and see what can become of them. We even addressed the O-line, which surprisingly people were kind of quiet about this year. But we addressed it as well in drafting, I'm going to call him Mr. Shadow Realm, Damian Lewis. So, as far as it goes for me, at first I was disappointed in the draft, but not everything is as it appears from what I learned. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe. And feel free to comment. Seriously, if I'm saying something wrong here that's ridiculous, call me out on it. I'd love to talk to y'all and I'd love to get your opinions on things. Like I said, also, don't be afraid to hit the notification bell so you know when I'm posting these videos. I know I said every week, I never specified on a day. But if you hit the notification bell, then you'll know. Okay, I'm AJ. This is Xander Tells. I'll see you on the flip side.